I know I already made some videos about some of the most advanced movement techniques in Celeste, but with that in mind, I thought that I would make a video on some of the more basic ones, because I just want to make this as clear as possible, because I've seen some pretty good tutorials, but I really want to break down kind of how these things work. Okay, so let's start first with all the basic mechanics, so all the stuff that you just know basically as soon as the first chapter starts. Okay, so you can run. Cool. You can jump. Cool. You can duck. And you can climb. And you can also dash. Right? And you might combine these moves, something like that. So what really separates the advanced movement from the basic movement is that when you start doing advanced movement, the dash and the jump aren't separate anymore. You start putting them together. Okay? So instead of, say, dash jump, you do dash jump. Like that. So that looks cool. Alright? So that's the first move that I want to get into today. So that is what's known as the dash jump. Some people call it a dash cancel, but I prefer calling it a dash jump. And that's how you do that. So you just press X and hit jump like pretty much immediately after you press it. The timing isn't that tight. I hit it a little later there. But mostly, as long as you don't just hit them at the same time. Okay, well that actually still worked. You wanna delay it just a tiny bit. That's the first move that I want to get into. That is like the most basic advanced move that there is. So how do we build on top of that? So you'll notice that it's cool looking, but it's it's kind of slow. I mean, it's faster than dashing, than jumping, and then dashing is normal. It's certainly faster than that, but it's still not that fast. So what can we do? Well, there's this thing called the Hyperdash, where you do the exact same thing. So here I was just going right and then dash jump, like that. So with the Hyperdash you do the exact same thing, but you hold down as well. So that's going to look like this. So you'll notice that it's a very similar looking move. I'll just, put the two side by side. Whoops, I forgot to hold right there. So here's the jump dash, and here's the Hyperdash. So they're very similar looking, but there are some slight differences. The Hyperdash gives you more speed, but less height, whereas the jump dash gives you more height, but less speed. Okay. So as of yet, these moves don't really look that useful, because the actual amount of distance that you get, okay, that was about to there. The actual amount of distance that you get is not a whole lot better than just jumping and dashing. So these don't seem all that useful yet. Okay, the only reason right now that these two jumps are useful is just that they're faster. If I dash and then jump, that's not going to be as fast as if I do a jump dash or if I do a Hyperdash. So these are just faster. So they're useful if you're speedrunning. Okay, say you're not interested in speedrunning. Say you just want to beat some harder levels. Well, this is where the extended versions come in. So a extended jump dash or an extended hyperdash is basically whenever you perform the move, but you get to keep your dash. So I'm actually going to change, these blocks are kind of annoying, so I'm going to change locations. I'm going to come down here. Okay, so you can do, so the extended is when you want to keep your dash. So this is a normal jump dash, and then this is going to be an extended jump dash. See how I still got the speed, but I kept my dash. So if you were to just move normally and try and get across all the way to over here without touching any of this floor here, then you wouldn't be able to do it. That's pretty much, well, you can diagonal dash, which will get you a little bit further, but you just don't quite make it. And even a jump dash doesn't make it, or a hyperdash doesn't quite make it, though it gets close. The extended way is the only way to do it. So it's basically going to be the same as just a normal jump dash, but you time your jump input a little bit later. So for the normal jump dash, I'm basically pressing jump, you know, pretty much at the same time that I press dash. Again, not quite at the same time, because that might run you into trouble, because you might accidentally hit jump first if you just get used to pressing them at the same time. It does work, but it's, if you make a mistake, it's going to be a bad mistake, whereas if you get used to doing jump a little bit after your dash, it's less likely that you'll have a catastrophic mistake. Anyway, the point is, so this way I go dash jump like that, but here I go dash jump, right? I'll slow the game down so you can see. So this is a normal jump dash, okay, and then this is going to be an extended jump dash, and you get to keep your dash. So with this in mind, we can actually make it across the gap without touching the floor. Okay, well, that wasn't it. I didn't keep my momentum and made it across without touching the floor. Okay, so jump dashes and hyper dashes are very similar, and we can use this idea with a hyper dash and do the exact same thing. Just like that. Okay? And you want to kind of let go of down as soon as you come off the floor, just so that you're not falling quicker, so you can get more distance. Right? But that's the basic principle. So once again, normal jump dash, or normal hyper dash, right? And then extended versions. Like that. You keep your dash. Okay. And just one more point about these two moves. You can actually, you can actually adjust how far they go. So if I just sort of tap the jump button after I dash, you know, I go like that. But if I hold it in, I go much further. And it's the same, you know, it's basically the same principle as normal jumps. This is just me tapping the jump button, and then this is me holding it. So that same idea will extend to, well, no pun intended, but will extend to jump dashes and hyper dashes. Okay, so those are the two most basic advanced tech. And usually the next one you learn is the wall bounce, but I'll get into that later because the next move that I want to cover is more similar to the ones that I just covered. So I will get into that first. Okay, so the next move that I want to get into is the Wavedash, and just to spoil it, this is what it looks like. It looks like that. Now, a lot of people say that the Wavedash is basically the same thing as a Hyperdash, just performed from the air. This isn't actually correct, and they fail. The reason it's not correct is because they fail to recognize an important mechanic that exists in Celeste, bouncing. Okay? Celeste can actually bounce off of surfaces. If I dash into a wall, let's try and find a suitable wall. Okay, if I dash into a wall, I can... Oh, this isn't working for some reason, but maybe if I go diagonally. The point is she can actually bounce off surfaces, right? So, you know, maybe for instance you can bounce off this corner. She can bounce off surfaces is the point that I want to get across. Anyway, so how do we use this with the Wavedash? So what we're doing is we're jumping up and then we're dashing into the ground like this, and that will give us momentum towards the ground. And then when we hit jump, when we're in contact with the ground, Madeline will actually bounce off the ground. Sorry, I forgot to add, when I was talking about bouncing, you actually have to actuate the jump button for the bounce to happen. So if I like that, she actually kind of bounced off the wall. You know, she got more horizontal momentum there if she were to just, you know, do that. She actually got slightly more. Okay, so that's the idea that I'm using, but I'm using it downward. So you jump up and dash down and then jump again. Like that. So what are some of the problems that people can have with Wavedashes? So the first one is that you don't get enough distance. Like that. That's not very good. I could get that far just by doing that. So what was the problem there? Well, the problem there was I hit the jump button too late, or I start... Basically, when you hit the jump button too late, you've started from too high, or you slid too far. So if you start from too high... Okay, well, that actually works. But if you, you know, if you, say, are trying to wave dash off of this thing here, and you jump down... You see how she didn't get those little circles behind her, so she didn't have that strong momentum. So if you start too high, that can happen. Or if you jump too late, it can also happen where you don't get that speed. Okay, so what's the other problem that people can sometimes have with Wavedashes? Well, with Wavedashes, we want to get our dash back, but sometimes if we do the Wavedash incorrectly, we don't get our dash back. Like that. See how my hair was blue? So that happens if you jump too early, which is going to happen if you start too low. Okay, that worked. But if I just kind of tap the jump button like that, it doesn't work. My hair stays blue. Okay? So I'll slow this down just so you can really see it in action. So jump up. Okay, I'm used to the timings in real time, so this is going to be interesting. So that's what happens if you start too low. So I'm going to start a little bit higher. Like that, right? Because a mechanic that you need to know about in Celeste is the conditions that need to be met for you to get your dash back. Okay? So if you just dash on the ground, you get your dash back. But you don't get it back instantly, right? I can't just dash like really... I'm spamming the jump button there, but I'm actually hitting the button faster than she's dashing. You can probably hear that. So there are two conditions that need to be met for Madeline to get her for Madeline to get her dash back, which is one, she has to be in contact with the floor. That one's fairly obvious. You're not going to get your dash back if you're in the air. But the second one is that a certain amount of time needs to have passed since the last dash, and I'll demonstrate that by giving myself infinite air dashes. If I just spam up like this, I'm tapping the button very fast, and she is dashing very fast, but not as fast as I'm tapping the button. So I'm probably tapping the button about twice as fast as she's dashing. My inputs are like da 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 da, and then her dashing is only, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So it's actually slower than how much I'm pressing the button. So the timer needs to finish, okay, for her to get her dash back. And that's what's happening when you do an extended hyperdash or an extended jump dash, is you're in contact with the ground, and the timer has elapsed since the last dash, so you get your dash back. So the same principle applies to the Wavedash. Like that. Okay. And the cool thing about the Wavedash is that you can chain it. So let's go to a different area. Let's go around here. So the cool thing with the Wavedash is that you can chain it. Like that. And you can do that as many times as you want. Okay. So, cool. So now we've covered all the kind of, well, not all the horizontal moves, but most of the important horizontal moves. So now I'm going to talk about the vertical moves. Okay, so I'm going to give myself infinite stamina for demonstration purposes. So obviously everybody knows that when you can climb like this, okay, and you can jump up the wall too. So all I'm doing is holding climb and pressing jump. Now my stamina isn't running out because I gave myself infinite stamina, okay, but you can do that. I'll actually turn it off for now to demonstrate this. So the jumping up the wall is great, except it consumes a lot of stamina. Watch how quickly I can run my stamina out. And she's already out of stamina, okay? So that consumes a lot of stamina. But otherwise, it's a great move because you stay on the wall and you go up, okay? But the problem is it consumes stamina, so you can't do it forever. Okay. So if I were to try and get as much height as possible, you might try, you know, climbing up and then jumping, and that's pretty much, you know, as high as you can get, but then, you know, your stamina runs out, you know? So, you know, sometimes when you're jumping off walls, you want to go really high, but, you know, there's nothing, let's say there's no wall up here, there's nothing for you to climb on. Let's say the wall ends at like this little line here. You know, you can't go, say, any higher than I can't get on that block to the right of me, okay? So there is actually a way that we can get around this, and the move that I want to talk about is the wall bounce. And you tend to learn this before you learn the Wavedash because it's taught in 7B, whereas the Wavedash, they don't tell you until you're like halfway through Farewell. But I wanted to cover the vertical moves after I had covered the horizontal ones. So the wall bounce is basically a jump dash, except you do it vertically. So remember the jump dash. There was dash jump. Like that. So I'm going to apply the same principle up a wall. So as you know, you can jump up a wall. Sorry, you can dash up a wall, and you can jump up a wall. Okay, well, let's combine these ideas. Or sorry, should I add, you can dash up a wall, and you can jump away from a wall, like this. Okay, now you can't actually jump up a wall like that, but I'm actually going to use a wall jump, not a climb jump for this. So what you do is you dash up and then jump like that, and see how I got a ton of height, right? If the platform stopped, say, there, and I try to just go like that, I don't get as much height, whereas there I can actually touch the block, whereas you can't if you just do normal movement. The cool thing about this move is that you can sort of change how it behaves based on what arrow key you hold. So if you just hold up, it kind of looks like that. But if you do the move and then hold right, you can get some really, you know, you can get some good speed over there. And you'll notice, like, if the platform were to end here, the only way that I can get on that block is by doing that, right? And you can if you want to, you know, climb really high up a wall, say you want to climb really high up this wall, but there's like a bunch of spikes here or something, you can hold into the wall as well. Like that. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about, so those are the mechanics of the wall bounce, and now I want to talk about kind of fine-tuning it. So the timing is not very tight for this, so you can, well, I'm not holding up. That's me pressing jump like almost immediately after dashing. Alright, like that. But you can actually time it late to get more height, like that. So she was actually dashing up the wall for longer, like that, and you get really high. So that's pretty much as high as I can get if I jump immediately. I only get kind of on the bottom edge of that block, but if I delay the jump input, I get, you know, if I hold for longer, I get higher up, okay? So yeah, that's pretty much the wall bounce. So in short, it's a jump dash, except you do it up a wall. And then, as I said before, you can adjust the timing like that, make it later, and you can adjust the angle, the trajectory, as I said again. So that's pretty much all you need to know about the wall bounce. But the cool thing is that now this is a move that I'm still not very good at. You can kind of use a similar concept horizontally in terms of like bouncing off the wall. So I said before that Madeline can kind of bounce off surfaces like this, okay? But this move really takes advantage of that. So if I want to get to the right very quickly, very far, but I'm on this platform and I say have very little space, so say like even this block isn't there, so I just have this one that I'm standing on right here, and I have this wall here to my left. What you can do is you can actually dash into the wall and then do a wall jump off of it. So like dash into the wall and then do a wall jump off of it. This move is, I gotta admit, it's difficult to pull off. It looks a bit like that, and you can actually get your dash back. Yeah, like that. The timing is quite tight. Now, in practice, what we do end up doing is reverse wave dashes a lot of the time, but that kind of only works if you have a corner to work with. So, you know, sometimes you might want to use this move instead. So I covered the reverse wave dash in another video, but if, say, there were spikes on the side of, you know, this platform, then, you know, it might be risky to perform a reverse wave dash, because I might, you know, when I hit the corner, I might hit the spike, okay? So it might be better to perform a horizontal wall bounce. But if there were spikes here on this side wall, but no spikes on this little corner here, then it would probably be better to perform a reverse wave dash, because that would be safer, because I wouldn't be, you know, going near these spikes here, and there's no spikes here, so I can kind of safely reverse wave dash. Now, I'm not going to cover reverse hypers and reverse wave dashes in this video because they're difficult, they're very advanced, but I do have another video on those if you want to check that out. But the thing that I do want to, so just to reiterate, the horizontal wall bounce, just to demonstrate, what you're going to do is you're going to face the wall. Now, it's important that you're not holding left while you dash into the wall, because then she won't change direction very efficiently. But you face the wall, you don't hold left, and you dash into the wall and then hold right and jump. So it's going to be dash right jump, or dash jump right. Let's see if we can figure out which one. I think it's dash right jump. Yeah, like that. So dash and then right and then jump, or dash and then left and then jump if you're, say, you know, on this wall over here. So again, dash into the wall to bounce off of it, but don't hold left, so you just face the wall and dash, and then hit right, hold right, and then hit jump, and you do a wall jump, but you're actually bouncing off the wall from the momentum from the dash. Okay, well, I didn't get my dash back there, but that's the general principle. Okay, I'm not having the best of luck with it today. So that's that. Okay, so now I want to get into bunny hops. So now I want to get into bunny hops. So a bunny hop is like any short jump like this, and the cool thing about them is that they give you a little bit of a speed boost. It's actually faster to go like that than it is to just walk, as you can probably tell. So this is with the bunny hop. That was, you know, reasonably fast. So like that, and then here's just normal walking. It's slower. Okay, so bunny hops maintain your horizontal momentum, and they give you a little bit of a speed boost. Okay, so that's useful if, say, you're doing the prologue scene, you want to speed run it, but they haven't given you your dash yet. That's how you go, you know, as fast as possible. Okay, but the cool thing is that we can chain this with other moves. So you can, I covered this in another video, but I'll mention it again, you can bunny hop out of a hyperdash. Like that, and you get a ton of horizontal momentum. It's even better than an it's harder to pull off, but it's even better than an extended hyperdash. Well, I didn't get the speed boost there. You actually end up going further than an extended hyperdash. Right? Okay. So, the way that this works is you do a hyperdash, you don't extend it. The important point is that you don't extend it, and then you do it really short as well. So I'm not going to hold in the jump key like that. I'm just going to tap it like that, and then as soon as you hit the ground, you're going to hit jump again, and for the bunny hop, like that. Okay, so that's a hyper to bunny hop combo. I already made another video on that, so I'm not going to bury that point too much. So I just want to move on to the last topic that I want to cover, which is the Ultradash. So let's see if I can find a good location to do this. Let's see. Whoops, not there. Sorry for the delay, I just want to find a better, yeah, so here is fine. So we can do it here. Okay, so, alright, that's kind of annoying. I'm gonna get a different checkpoint to show this off. So I'll go here. Okay, so when you do an Ultradash, okay, so the cool thing about here's what is an Ultradash. So an Ultradash is a dash that goes very fast. Okay, how does that work? So Downward diagonal dashes like this are special because they actually maintain your horizontal momentum. Okay? If I go like that, her momentum actually, it's better in slow-mo just to demonstrate. Her momentum actually resets when you do the dash. So whatever horizontal momentum you have just gets cancelled, and you just get whatever momentum you get from a horizontal dash. Okay? And the same was with upward and upward diagonal dashes. That's all the same. But so demonstrate jump, horizontal dash, the momentum kind of resets, okay? And that's better illustrated with, say, an extended jump dash. See how after I'd come out of the extended jump dash, I had those circles behind me, but as soon as I horizontal dashed again, they went away. See how they go away? So your momentum actually resets, but with the downward diagonal dash, it doesn't, right? So let's try it with a hyperdash. Oh, that wasn't extended. Oops. Oh, that wasn't extended either. I'm just used to the timings in real time. So see how that momentum kind of reset. But with the downward diagonal dash, check this out. There's kind of this platform in the way, so this isn't the best, but let's see if we can maybe find a better place to demonstrate. Bear with me. Okay, actually up here isn't too bad. Okay, so up here is good. So you can, say, do an extended hyper, and see how that dash was extremely fast. It maintains that horizontal momentum. See how it maintains that momentum. Compare that to a horizontal dash. And see how it resets the momentum. Those little white circles behind me go away after I hit dash the second time. And then with the other dash, it's faster, okay? But the really cool thing is that we can combo this into a bunny hop to get a huge amount of speed. Like that. Alright? And where this is useful is coming out of the chase sequence in 2A up here. This is kind of where you're coming down after the chase sequence. Alright, so you can do the same thing. Well, that wasn't good. Like that, and maintain a huge amount of momentum. I was actually holding down the whole time. It works better when you don't. So it works better if you just hold down for the hyperdash part. Okay, not like that. Alright, well, obviously not the best at it. I'm not a speedrunner. But let's see if we can get this to work. Alright, that was a horizontal dash. I'm stupid. Sorry about this. Let's just see if we can get this to work. Kind of like that, but obviously speedrunners are much better at it than I am. But that's the basic principle. So yeah, so things we covered today: dash jumps, hyperdashes, extended jump dashes and hyperdashes, the Wavedash, wall bounces, the horizontal wall bounce, bunny hops, and ultradashes. There are obviously a lot more mechanics in Celeste. I've made a couple other videos about them, but I hope that, you know, that covered the more basic ones. And to any beginners out here, you know, who've, say, maybe just finished the main game, so all the, 1 through 7A, and you just kind of want to get started on advanced movement, I would say, the only things that I would recommend starting with, just to kind of get a feel for how it works, is the jump dash, the hyperdash, and the wall bounce. I would say start with those three, and when you get really good at those, then maybe start going into the bunny hop and the Ultradash and the horizontal wall bounce, and then reverse wave dashes and hypers and things like that. I would say start with the jump dash, the hyper dash, and the wall bounce, and that will get you a great start and give you a better feel for the game's mechanics. So that concludes my tutorial on the basic advanced movement techniques in Celeste. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks. Bye-bye.